I'm not even bantering, Dan, when I say this, right? And I mean this. I think I'd rather have Newcastle's squad than Man United's. I'm not even bantering there. Like, I actually look at what Newcastle have got. I think I'm looking at more of them players and going, yeah, I'll take them. So I think if you do get where people think second, third, I'm hearing, and a trophy, Ten Hag, fair play to him, man. I think he deserves his flowers because I don't know. Maybe come back at maybe I'm deluded and you've got a great squad and you're all happy, but I don't see it, man. I don't see this Man United side and think, wow. But maybe it's just me.
So what you say? A Man U Newcastle combined 11. You reckon there's more Newcastle players that fit into that 11 as it stands at the minute? Is that a safe bet?
I would say squad-wise, I'd take more I think Newcastle have got a stronger squad. Maybe a first 11, you probably look at it being quite close. I wouldn't look at Man United and go, "Oh yeah, they're miles ahead of Newcastle." Like, I can't see Newcastle competing with them because I look at Newcastle's midfield: Bruno, Tonali, and who's the other one? Jolinton. I think that's a really good midfield. I prefer Isak because I know he can score goals. I don't know if Højlund can yet. I prefer Callum Wilson because I know he can score goals. I don't know that Martial can yet. I look at the width and I think at least I know that Harvey Barnes can score more than Anthony. Huh?
Martial's been here for about 7 years.
Exactly, and he's poor.
A new kid on the block. He just can't score. He's shit.
That's what I'm saying. So would you have him over Callum Wilson? I would not. Then I look at the wide players. Anthony, I'd rather have Harvey Barnes or that Almiron because at least I know they can score. That's 5 already. And then we're going into the defence. I really like Botman. I like Lissandro, and I think Varane at Man United probably hasn't done it, but he's ridiculously good in terms of what he's achieved in football. Fullbacks, I'm having Newcastle's. I don't rate Man United's to that level.
That was what I was about to ask Dan.
I don't know, man. I'm struggling.
You've literally named a full Newcastle 11 besides a couple players.
Tell me then.
You didn't even mention. No, listen. I think that's. You ain't mentioned Rashford though. Yeah, thank you. You didn't mention Rashford.
He's the one. But Dan, have you heard that Man U were looking to give Wan-Bissaka a new contract as well?
Yeah, I have. I've got no concern with it. I'd rather us. We need to spend money everywhere else on the field. Right back for me at the moment isn't an option that we need to be looking to try and spend money. Obviously, we're looking at the Toledo at centre back. The bids going in for that. Amrabat. So straight away, you go from saying we've got nothing there to 2 players coming in. Obviously, the biggest problem United had last season was the likes of McTominay, who played a lot of football, the likes of Fred, who played a lot of football, and yet we still finished 3rd. So all I will say is I can happily sit here and take all of your points with it, but it's a long old season, boys, a long old season. And I tell you what, you're forgetting players like Garnacho, who in pre-season, I've seen this kid, by the way, the maturity in the last 12 months is through the roof. He is going to have a stunning season. I'm a bit concerned, obviously, with Anthony. We all know where we sit with Anthony, and I think United were kind of hoping Diallo would have a decent pre-season and be the guy to sort of push him there, but then he got injured. I've said on this show 5th or 6th is where I see us finishing until we get these 2 other players. If we get these 2 other players coming in, it changes it a little bit for me. The other thing you're saying here is, I mean, so we're not putting Luke Shaw in this team at all. Luke Shaw, who I thought was really, really, really good. Yeah.
I love Luke Shaw. Dan Burn. Love Dan Burn. Don't get me wrong.
My point is not I've missed out one player there. My point is that I'm looking at the squad and I'm thinking, Manchester United, I grew up, Dan, and you were winning everything, mate. And I look at your squad now and I'm thinking, I was told Man United are going to go I thought you were going to go for Kane and I thought you were going to be title challenging straight away. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, I don't think you're going to be anywhere near
we all did. That's just me. We all did, but then something happened. The Glazers stayed. That's what changed that.
Did I not text the group chat months ago and say you've only got about 100 mil to spend? There wasn't that big war chest there that not you, Dan, because we had conversations, but other United fans online had been saying, no, we're going to be spending upwards of 200 mil this summer. We're going to be doing this. We're going to get the back and we're going to get new investors. We're going to get new owners in for the summer. And I was saying it's more likely that you're just going to have 100 mil to spend, which means you aren't really going to be able to go out and splash that money on Kane because it's almost, again, the situation that Liverpool found themselves in. We could spend 100 mil on one player, but that doesn't fix the holes in the squad that are actually going to get you closer to City to compete. So where do you distribute that money then? And I think Man U have had to go down the route of getting horses for courses almost, and actually finding, you know what, we do need the keeper.
There's no denying that, Errol. There's no denying if this was a Qatario Manchester United, the transfer window would have been completely different. Completely
100%.
different.
100%.
Look, at the end of the day, if we get the 2 signings that we want to come in, then we've made 5 signings this season. You'd have to say, other than the Højlund deal being slightly expensive and the injury happening to him straight away there, you'd have to say that they've kind of got what they wanted in terms of strengthening their positions. Harry Maguire was a liability last season. Obviously, you had the midfield of McTominay and Fred that every time they played, and we've seen this for years, guys, they've been a joke. So you have that new midfield of Mount, Amrabat, Ericsson, who people have forgot about. I know, obviously, he won't play as much football this season, but he's not a bad option to have.
Quality, though. He's quality.
Exactly. He's not a bad option to have. I'm not feeling terrified. I don't think by any means this season is going to be a catastrophe. And the one thing I will say is what Ten Hag did last season with the stuff he had to deal with, and I'm not going to go over old ground with that again, he's bought enough time for me to trust in what he's doing, and I trust in what he's doing, and I'm going to give him the time this season. I'm certainly not after... Look, last season, 2 games in, we'd lost 2-1 at home to Brighton, 4-0 away to Brentford. I'm not gonna hit panic stations yet. Let's get these 2 signings in. I think they're doing the right thing in the players that they're trying to get rid of. The main thing as well you've got to remember is the players they're getting rid of, the likes of Maguire, that wage bill is coming down. De Gea, 375 grand a week. Wage bill's coming down. I think they're having to manage things the best they can at the moment until they come out of this limbo that is the sale of Manchester United. Will they, won't they? There's not a lot that we can do. There's not much more we can do. Could we have gone out there and spent 100 million on Kane? And I agree with what Pete said, or was it Errol said? Probably. We could have used our whole budget on that, but then you leave us completely short for the rest of the season because you're essentially hoping that Kane will fire all those goals to get us up to the top of the table. But we're still going to have to rely on Harry Maguire coming in as 4th choice, maybe when someone's injured. Scott McTominay coming in when Casemiro evidently gets a red card and is missing for 7 or 8 games again. So I think he's doing what he can with the resources that he can. Now, I'm not going to sit here and cry and say that we are so, hard done by. We've spent 400 million in the last 2 seasons. But at the same time, he's had to rebuild this squad that was full of horrible characters, bad attitudes, bad footballers, I think, towards the end. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to see what happens. I don't think it's going to be a catastrophe this season, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think we're going to have as much luck as we did last season in the sense of a lot of teams around us having terrible, terrible seasons.
And I'm not saying, Dan, that Ten Hag's the guy. I think Ten Hag's doing a great job. I don't think Ten Hag is doing a bad job. It's not Ten Hag that's the issue for me. I just think the whole of your ownership and board are looking at that right now and thinking, are you happy with where you are? And the answer should be absolutely no. And we're going to do all we can. And there's going to be nothing left for us to go and
but then what's with that? Why the Glazers going to go out and spend another 300 million? If
this is the problem. They are the problem, aren't they? They are the issue.